It was supposed to be a short trip. 4 strangers, bound by curiosity and a promise of easy money, arrived in the quiet town of Greystone. Their task was simple: spend one night inside the infamous Hollowpine Asylum, record everything, and leave with $10,000 each. Easy money, or so they thought. The asylum had been closed for over 70 years. Locals whispered that the building was alive, that its walls listened, that its windows watched. They said no one had lasted past midnight without losing their mind. But money blinds fear, and the 4 strangers, Evelyn, Mark, Thomas, and Claire, walked through the rusted gates with cameras, flashlights, and nervous laughter. The gates shut behind them on their own. None of them noticed. The main hallway stretched like a throat, lined with peeling paint and broken wheelchairs. Their footsteps echoed, but sometimes, just sometimes, another pair of steps followed, half a beat behind. Mark lifted his camera. "Say hello to the audience, guys. Tonight, we prove Hollowpine is just bricks and dust." Thomas chuckled nervously. "Bricks don't whisper. Neither do corpses," Claire muttered. Evelyn stopped. "Did you hear that?" They all listened. A faint lullaby drifted down the corridor, soft, almost sweet. But the words weren't words at all, just humming, low and broken, as if sung through water. The group exchanged glances. "Children's ward," Evelyn whispered. "It's coming from the children's ward." Rows of tiny beds stood in the dark, each with rusted frames and thin mattresses eaten by mold. Dolls with missing eyes sat neatly on some of the pillows, untouched by dust, as if someone had placed them there recently. Thomas scanned the room with his flashlight. "Oh, the hell would—" Every doll turned its head at once. The beam of the flashlight trembled across plastic faces now staring at him. Their mouths split in faint smiles. Claire dropped her camera. The dolls were still again, lifeless. "Nope," she hissed. "I'm done." But the doors closed behind them, locks sliding into place with invisible hands. The lullaby began again, louder this time. And now words formed, ancient, broken syllables, none of them recognized. Mark lifted his camera despite the terror shaking through him. "Keep filming." The asylum didn't just trap them, it shifted. Hallways stretched longer than before. Staircases looped back into the same rooms. Windows looked out onto walls instead of the night sky. Evelyn clutched a journal they'd found in the office of the head physician, Dr. Weaver. His notes spoke of experiments in silence, patients locked in sensory deprivation chambers until their minds shattered. The last entry read, "Silence opens the door. Once it listens, It never stops. As Evelyn read aloud, the air thickened. Shadows bled across the floor, forming shapes of patients in hospital gowns, their mouths sewn shut. They shuffled closer, heads jerking, as if trying to speak through stitches. Thomas screamed and swung his flashlight wildly. The beam cut through the shadows, but more rose from the corners. Dozens of them. "Don't let them touch you," Evelyn cried. But the first hand, cold and boneless, brushed against Mark's arm. With Mark gone, the three survivors stumbled into the east wing. Rusted doors bore scratched numbers, each one smeared with faded blood. Evelyn read more from the journal. The house will demand its tithe. It chooses who stays and who becomes its voice. Claire shouted, "We need to find a way out." But the halls curved like intestines. Each door they opened led them deeper. Operating theaters with saws still wet. Padded rooms with walls that pulsed faintly. Morgues where the drawers whispered as if full of lips. At the far end stood a surgery lamp, still glowing, though no power had run for decades. Beneath it, a figure waited. Dr. Weaver, or what was left of him. His body was tall and thin, skin stretched. Panic made them desperate. Thomas pushed Claire toward the doctor, screaming, "Take her! Let me go!" But the asylum did not bargain. The walls split open behind Thomas. Black arms snaked out, wrapping around his body. He was dragged screaming into the wall, leaving only a smear of blood across plaster. Evelyn and Claire ran. Doors slammed behind them. The floor became soft, spongy, as though they were running on flesh. The lullaby returned, sung now by hundreds of voices. Claire tripped. Evelyn tried to help her, but Claire's eyes were no longer hers. Black voids stared out of her skull. She smiled, whispering, "It listens to me now," and she vanished. Evelyn was alone. The asylum had swallowed her friends. The journal in her hands grew heavier, its pages bleeding ink, forming new sentences in real time. The last witness must speak. The house remembers through her tongue. She refused. She tore the journal, threw it into fire she made from broken furniture. But the words didn't burn. They climbed the walls, glowing red, spelling her name across every surface. Evelyn, Evelyn, Evelyn. She screamed, running through hall after hall. Until at last she found the front gate. It was open, swinging gently in the breeze. She sprinted through and fell to her knees. Behind her, Hollowpine Asylum stood silent and whole, as though it had never decayed. Lights glowed warmly in its windows. Shadows moved. Years later, a new group of ghost hunters entered Hollowpine. They laughed at the stories, dismissed the warnings, Their live stream cut out at midnight. The last frame showed dozens of dolls, smiling in the dark, their heads turning in unison toward the camera. And behind them, a voice whispered, "Welcome home."